Hey guys, if you're watching this video, I'm assuming you've heard of Wheelie's beach wheels and are hopefully seeking a cheaper alternative as they can be quite expensive. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make your own homemade beach wheels for around a fourth of the cost of what Wheelie's would cost this size. First off, I want to say this is a spin-off of John Sims' video, Homemade Wheelie's Beach Cart. If you haven't seen it, I would definitely encourage you to go watch it. He shows how he built his wheels as well as the impressive results after hauling his kayak through the dry sand. In this video, I'm going to show you what's needed to build these wheels based on my interpretation of John's video. Overall, the concept of the wheel is the same. There are some differences, I believe, though, that will make it hopefully easier and quicker for you to build. Alright, so here's my surf fishing cart that I'm going to be pairing my homemade beach wheels with. Back when I built this, I love the idea of Wheelie's, but I wasn't going to pay $200+ for the size I needed. Long story short, I cheaped out and went with $20 wheelbarrow tires. Let me tell you, that was a big mistake. I mean, they work fine if I was using this for a pier fishing cart, but since I'm primarily interested in surf fishing, after I loaded this cart down with the cooler and chairs and tackle box and all the above, I was basically dragging this thing through the sand, and I had to take 5 or 6 breaks from the car to the surf, so it wasn't fun at all. Well, this year, the wife and I are finally able to get back to the beach, and I plan on doing a lot of surf fishing, so I'm very eager to see how these new wheels will work. Alright, so here's what you're going to need for each wheel that you plan on building. So we're going to need one Tire-Aid non-highway inner tube for an 8-inch rim. Specs are shown here. My impression of this tire, very durable, thick rubber. I feel like it'd be hard to puncture, but even if it does, this seals punctures up to 1/8 inch of a hole. $22 at Lowe's, but let me tell you, I think it's going to be well worth it. Next, we got two 10-inch circle discs. I cut them out of 1/2-inch plywood. I used a frisbee I found laying around to cut out to trace out the circle, and then I used a jigsaw to cut it out. So it's not perfectly rounded, but I sanded everything down on each side and then around the edges to make everything really smooth. Then after I sanded everything down, I used a Minwax polyurethane sealer, sanded them again, and if you repeat that process, they'll get very smooth. After that, what you're going to do, I put all my discs on top of each other when I was drilling holes to ensure that they aligned properly, because that's a very important step. Basically for the center, I found center of them, and I used a 1-inch drill bit to drill through. And then for 2 inches from the center in a cross pattern, you can see I drilled 4 5/16 holes to accept the carriage bolts when we put everything together. Next, between two of these 5/16 holes, just cut out a circle or cut out something. I use a 2-inch hole bit. Basically, we're going to use this to access our valve stem once everything's put together, so we don't have to take the wheel off or anything like that. Next, I have 4 pieces of PVC conduit. They're 1/2-inch, and I cut them down to 4.5 inches. Next, we're also going to use 4 1/4-inch 6-inch carriage bolts. So, and then we'll also need 4 1/4-inch hex nuts, 4 1/4-inch flat washers. Now, for the axle and the center of the hub, I'm using 3 1/4-inch PVC conduit. This is really cheap at Lowe's in the electrical section. This is, I think, a 10-foot stick of the 3 1/4 inches, $2 or $3, and for the 1/2-inch, it's the same. It's about $2 or $3. Then I'm using 1/2-inch copper pipe as my axle. I'm going to be drilling holes in on each side once I cut it down to the right length to put these fender washers and these locking pins to keep them on the surf car. So yeah, so now we're going to take a look at how we're going to put these together. And yeah. Okay, so now we're going to look at putting these things together. So we're going to start with the circle disc that has the hole cut out for access to the valve stem. We're going to push the carriage bolts through and place it face down. Next, we're going to take the tire, make sure it's only partially inflated, and make sure you know where the where the valve stem is. So we're going to put it down, face down, where the valve stem is kind of facing and facing the access hole. So we're going to place it down like that. Make sure everything's lined up good. Next, we're going to take our 4.5-inch pieces of 1/2-inch PVC conduit. We're going to be placing them over the carriage bolts like this. They're going to act as basically a brace once we get everything tightened together. Basically, it's going to, make it not necessary for us to fill in this void or gap in between. It's going to be real nice. So next what you want to do, you want to make sure that these are lined up properly. As you can see, I've marked one of these holes. I'm going to make sure it's all lined up so that in the end everything's properly in line for the wheel. But you're going to put this on. Then you're going to go ahead and, obviously put on your flat washers, put on your hex nuts, and just tighten it down. Once you get it tightened down, you can inflate the tire. And as the tire kind of fills up the space, you can kind of move it around to make sure that it's all, lined up. I try to use this as a little gauge here, this blue line here. But yeah, so that's really all I got to do. Now let's take a look at what it looks like all put together. All right, so here's the tire all put together and pumped up. Remember when you're pumping these up that if you're taking this through sand, less is more. I kind of pumped it up probably a little too much, but you get the idea of how it's supposed to look, and it's really a simple project. Really the only thing left to do is this 3/4 inch pipe, 3/4 inch PVC conduit here. I basically cut it down and you can see it bulbs out. I think you can see that on this one how it does. I basically just cut these down and cut this section off, and I'm going to use it right here as a stop on the other side with using some PVC cement. So basically what you want to do is from the outside of the wheel I'm going to have the bulb, so I'm sticking it through here, through the center, and you can see it's locked there. And then I have fishing rod holders and everything like that on my surf cart, so I left it a little bit long, but I mean, depending on what you're using these for, you can cut these to size. And then I'm going to put this on there and lock it on with some PVC, just PVC cement, just rub it on there and slide that there. And there you got your homemade beach wheels ready for action. The only thing left to do now is to put them on the surf cart. Alright guys, so this is basically the finished wheels once you get them all pumped up and put together. For the sake of time, I'm not going to put them on my surf cart tonight. It's getting pretty late. But here is the axle here. And you can see how I put the fender washer on this side, fender washer on this side. I'm going to drill a hole right here and put one of these locking pins there to keep them from falling off. Overall, I'm really impressed with these, of how easy they were to build. And after watching John Sim's video, if you have any doubts, check it out. Showing him hauling his kayak through the sand, and just the indentation it left in the sand was minimal, to say the least. So yeah, try these out. They're pretty simple. Let me know how they work for you. If you have any questions, leave a comment. I'll be happy to answer. I'll try to remember to take some video at the beach of how well these things are working. Other than that, thanks for watching, guys, and good luck building.